This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last class, we saw, regarding the storage account, your file share on your containers, all those stuff. So today, let's jump into the new one. The other one more other resources like your virtual machine, like your storage account. The other one is like your app services. So this is a kind of also used to deploy an application as we did in your virtual machine. So mostly in your real-time perspective, when you're trying to deploy some application within your resources, and that would be your nothing but your web application or your app services. So generically, we'll not go and deploy the things within your virtual machine directly, because within your web services or app services, you'll be having internally one more VM. So where in that virtual machine, your application will be deployed. So your app services will try to maintain an internal virtual machine internally where your application will be deployed in that particular part over there in your virtual machine, which has been made internally by your app services. So what is the difference between now app services and VM? Why can't we go and directly deploy the things in your virtual machine rather than your app services? So only difference is like VM, you can go ahead here, the VM when you're trying to go deploy things in here. So you can access your VM by using what? By your IP address, correct? Using IP address in here. But coming to my app services, you can access your apps using your URL. So URL is nothing but it's like kind of a link that I have to provide, right? So for example, now you have YouTube, for example, like www.youtube.com. So this is the URL or this is a website where they're trying to provide for us. Based upon this, I'm trying to go ahead and I'm trying to access my application here. But I can't provide my IP address simply to all my end users or all the customers in here. This doesn't look good, right? So even this is not so secure things to provide the IP address of a particular application. Okay, I should not mention the exact, the names of the location of my virtual machine, where it is, and all those things. But if you provide the IP address, so all your, it will become more easy for your hackers to hack the things. So where is my this IP address is located, or like which location has been there. So it will become to grab the information from that specific IP address. So it's exposing your IP address is not really good to have in you, but in order to save that what we have, so we have your the URL provided by URL in here. This is the main important point in here. So what is the full form of URL? Anybody?
Yeah, unified resource locator, I think.
Uniform resource locator. Yeah, perfect. So generally I will be generally calling that URL, but generally most of the people are, even I don't know for I'm sorry, like we don't know what is URL in here. So even I googled very early stages when I'm coming into here. I don't know what is URL. So generally we know that URL is a link to connect to so and so application, but what it is exactly I never saw that. So when I found it, like it's a uniform resource locator. It's a uniform resource look, it's trying to locate the the application where it is in. So it's a uniform resource locator in URL. Okay, so just for information only, this not it doesn't make anything here. So now let's go ahead and try to understand what we have with respect to our app services, or how can you create your app services in within your portal level. Let's see that particular part now. So going back to my portal. Okay, so I can see my app services, or this is, if you don't find in the top, you can choose, try, can click for app services. You can automatically find that. So just click on app services in here. Now go ahead and click on your create. So as usual, we have a subscription and we have a resource group. So currently I don't have any resource groups. I'm trying to create using my VRIT-RG. Click on OK. So now coming to my instance details in here. So this is your name you have to provide. So this particular name, what you provide in here, that should be unique in the domain of your Azure. So this is the .azurewebsites.net, because you are trying to create a link out of my web application. As I told you, you are trying to create a URL. So suppose I provide something like YouTube. So YouTube is already there, right? So I can't provide the same thing again in here. So you have to provide a separate name for your app services, where it should be so unique, where I mean it should be unique in nature, so that you can create a new URL for that. So the name should be unique for sure within the websites which has been covered by your Azure domain in here. So the domain name of your Azure is azurewebsites.name. So this is something like, within the Gmail, you are trying to create a Gmail account. So when you're trying to create a Gmail account, what you have to do? So you have to provide a unique name. So you cannot provide normal name. It may say that that name has been already used by someone else. So you have to provide a unique name, so that it will be uniquely allocated to you only. So it's like a unique identifier for respect to your account, what you have with respect to your Gmail domains, what they have in. So similarly here as well, the same case, you have to mention your the name of your web application here, where it should be unique within your domain of your Azure in Azure websites.net. For example, I'm trying to provide a normal like web app. So it's trying to check whether it's been available or not. So it says that app name is not available in here. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll try to add like VRIT, my institute name, and now it says a tick mark. Yeah, this particular name is available. You can go ahead and you can use this particular name for creating of your web application in here. So based upon this, you will be seeing a new URL created later on. So now you can something like a publish. So okay, you're trying to say that okay, this is my web application you're trying to create. Very good. What are you trying to publish in here? So is it like any static website you have in here, web application you have in here, which will be no change in things, or are you publishing your Docker container, something like this in here, or you're trying to publish any code in here? So currently, you do not know about your Docker container for sure, because this is a very highly advanced concept in here currently. So we haven't been to that particular concept yet. So when we see your Docker container, then I'll use this option in here to use my things in here. But currently I'm not using this option. So we'll try to go with the code level. So we already have a .NET code, or we have a website code, or static. No, we have website code in here automatic. So I'll try to use that website code to publish within my app services in here. Okay, so this is the static link. So this is globally available. This is a new option. Actually it came up maybe probably just 1 week back only it came up. Earlier it was not there. So this is like accelerate application development with managed global availability for static content. So there will be no change in your content. Then you can use this particular static web application here. But in generally, when you are trying to go with any code level, so for sure there'll be change in your code level. So I cannot go with my static. So I'll always go with my code only in here. So if it is static, there will be no change in code levels forever. Then you may choose this one. So we can explore more on that. I'll get back to you on this even more, because it's a new option which just came up. Okay, so this is nothing but the code level. What you have, you can directly deploy that particular part. Docker, as I told you, we haven't been to Docker yet. So when we see the Docker related concepts, I'll touch base this particular option in here. So now, okay, you're saying that you have a web application, and inside that I'll be publishing some kind of code. Very good. But your Azure is asking you again, okay, what kind of code it is? Is it like, it's a Java code, or is it like a, Python code? So all these things comes under a runtime stack. See, is it a Java code, a Python code, a PHP code? So what kind of code it is you're trying to go within here? For example, okay, it's a PHP code. So it's my website code I'm having as a PHP code. So I'm using my PHP in here. Okay, very good. So this is something, based upon the code, based upon the, the code, the language you choose to write your code. Because why it's asking all those things? Because internally within the virtual machine, which is there, which is be created internally within your web application, it has to compile the code what you provide. If there are any issues with the code, it has to throw an error saying that something went wrong while building the code in here. Okay, so to compare the things, to execute your code, it needs to install the related or respective, the runtime stack inside. I mean, the respective supporting tools inside to compile the code or to, to execute the code in here. For that reason, it's clearly asking you what kind of code it is. So here I'm mentioning it's a PHP 7.4 runtime stack. Based upon this, I'm trying to have my code in here. Well, what is the operating system you want to go with? Is it like internally within your virtual machine you want to go with the Windows operating system, or you go with like Linux operating system? You can go either with these two, not a problem in here. So I'll try to choose Linux mostly. By default it's Linux, so I can go with that. Or you can choose Windows also, not a problem in here. So you can choose either of the one in here. So based upon what you choose, it will go ahead and it will try to run everything within that particular operating system. Your deployment part, all the secreting of your virtual machines, everything will be done internally within your operating system based upon what you choose in here. And as usual, I'm choosing my East US as a region in here. Okay. So now now I chose my region, I chose my runtime. I'm trying to choose that, okay, this is operating system where I want to create internally within my virtual machine, and this is a runtime stack. This is the the language I use, the technology I use to write my code in here. This is the code and my web application name. So now when you're trying to, when you're trying to create a virtual machine, you have something like a VM size, right? You selected your VM size based upon, the kind of the RAM, the vCPUs, the IOPS. Based upon that, you selected your VM size. Similarly here as well, even though I say it's it's a PHP code, all this internally my Linux and Windows in here, even I should select my kind of sizes in here. What is the RAM you want, or how many, like what you say, like what is the backup timing? So how many times you want to get the backup, how many replicas you want to have in here, all those things I need to create a plan in here. So it's like this is just a name of the plan which I had to choose in here. So what are the things I choose in here? The plan, just provide me the name, that's it, nothing more than that in here. So to choose your sizes, we have to go with this option in here, SKU and size in here. So when you click on this, by default you try to go with your 210 ACUs, compute units, and 3.5 GB of memory in here. So this in generally it will be pushing to my production level environment, which is not required. See, this is a dev environment related, the sizes what we have in here. This is a production related environment, the size what you have in here. By default, it will try to choose the least one from your production. But I don't want to do this because it's costing me 5,300 rupees. See, for month in here, estimated price. So I don't want to go with my production level. So we have your dev environment related sizes as well. So the very first one is very, it's just has 1 GB of RAM only and 60 minutes day compute. So every day only 1 hour it runs, not more than that. If you're trying to consume more than 1 hour, your web application will be start for sure. Okay, so you can see only 1 GB of hard disk even here, one disk storage system in here. Now, very small thing. It's very basic and very small thing. It's a free of cost in here. Okay, this is a free of cost in here. So next one, you have a little bit more. So this one, this is costing me around 894 rupees per month. It's very least one. I'm having a 1.75 GB of memory in here. So this one, it can scale up 3 instances subject to availability. So, with scalability, we spoke about scalability, if you remember, right? So if you have more traffic, if you have multiple things coming up, automatically what I want to do, I want to increase my instance, web application instance in here. If you remember, we spoke about your IRCTC site earlier. So the how much scale it can increase, that's up to maximum of 3 inches only in here, because it's very low price in here. So similarly, 10 GB of hard disk can be allocated for here to run my application. So it's very small and basic things. You can choose this one. But coming to my production level, you can see it's a 3.5 GB of RAM, 7 GB, it's a 14 GB, 32 GB, 16 GB or 8 GB in here. So based upon each and everything, your price always will be there. So when you go with 32 GB, you can say around 32,000 rupees. 16 GB, you can 16,000. 8 GB around 8,000. And it's something like 10,000, something like 10,000. And here it's again 2,000, 2,195 based upon the things what you have into. So these are the multiple options you have with respect to production. So each one has its own priority. For example, take 32 GB of RAM. You see here, backups. 50 times daily I can back up your data. So I can go to your application, I'll take a backup of your data 50 times daily. And 20, for testing deployments, if you want, you can provide 20 staging slots with respect to you to have your unit testing kind of stuff, or to have a dummy runs with respect to application here before getting that into my live environment, all those things. And here 30 instances. So when you are in normal mode, it says that I can go up to maximum 3 instances. But when you're in production environment for 32 GB of one, it can go up to 30 instances in here, and 250 GB of hard disk. A normal environment, here it can go up to just 10 GB. So see the difference, and of course the price is very, you can see a huge difference in price as well. Okay, so this is like we have 8 vCPUs in here, 8 vCPUs, 32 GB of memory, and you have 250 GB of hard disk in here. So everything will be keep on changing based upon the things what you are into. So here probably 250 again, 50 times daily again, 30 instance again, probably some other things internally it may get down. What is that? Yeah, 4 vCPUs has got down in here. That's the main thing. So processor will down and your RAM is also down, 16 GB, but not 30 GB in here. Similarly, it's 8 GB. So if you go to the least one, you can see the difference like 50 times a day again, 250 GB. I think this is a static pieces for all the things, but you can see only 20 instances in here, but not 50. When you go with highest mode, it's a 30 instances in here, but when you go with the least mode, it's a 20 instances. It can go up to auto scale automatically. This is auto scaling you can go with, but with respect to my dev environment, it's a manual scaling you can go with in here. So it's manual scale, it's not auto scale. So you have to go specifically and you can scale up by writing the commands in here. But when you go into the production environment, it's auto scale. You can go ahead, you can scale up the things automatically. So up to maximum of 20 instances if you based upon the the option you choose in here. So this is this is a kind of sizes with respect to your virtual machine which has been created internally to my web application, and where my actual application has been running in here. So this particular part and web application, and with respect to my VM, only difference is like, as I told you, VM provides you IP address to access your system, but where app services or web application provides you the URLs, the link to my application which you're trying to use it in here. So similarly, you have isolated environment. So we have been talking, like a private cloud, right? So private things. So when you want to deploy application in your private cloud or private things in your isolated environment. So here you can see 32 GB of RAM and everything, 8 vCPUs, everything with 32,000 in here, 32,000. When you go with isolated, same thing, 32 GB of RAM, 8 vCPUs, but it costs you around 81,203 rupees per month. So huge. Why? Because a separate isolated environment will be, isolated network will be created for you. So this network, what you have in here is a normal network. I mean, it's standard kind of things. Nobody will talk about the network in here. But coming to my isolated environment, they'll speak about network, because as I told you, if you remember, when you talk about the difference between public and private, there will be some cases where we have separate line, fiber line coming from a data center to on premises where your system is working, where you're working in there. So even that is possible. It's a separate network totally, which cannot be exposed to anybody outside of your, out of the box. So it's very private. See, private app accesses to scale up to maximum 100 instances it can scale. See, so huge, and 1 TB of hard disk. So all these things, makes your price very, very high. So isolated, for vCPUs is 40,000. So just for 8 GB of RAM, it's 20,000 in here again. So it's very, very high in here because it's a purely with respect to your isolated one. It's not common, it's not a generic one in here. It's a purely private related things in here. I would say this is a public and this is a kind of private. Both are production only. Both are live environment related stuffs only, but this is containing your separate kind of isolate environment stuff, and this is a normal public level stuff in here. So the price will be little bit down when compared to my isolate in here. But so among these two, currently we do not choose it because it's purely for production level environments. So let's go with your smaller one. 100 total, 1.75 GB, have 8. This is more than enough for now. So I'm trying to choose this part, click on apply. So this is my plan, which I'm trying to go and trying to use to have my web application created internally. Okay. And zone redundancy, you will not be having for the basic things you have in here. So these things will be enabled only if it is you're trying to go with production environment, because it's waste of time. It's clearly mentioning. So Chandra, that's what I told you, like a web application, nothing but your app services in here. This is equivalent to your virtual machine. Okay, it's equivalent to your virtual machine in here, where what you did in a virtual machine, you were trying to deploy an application within your VM in here. So, but the problem in here is like, how do you provide, okay, go ahead, I have my application running in my virtual machine, you can go ahead and access my virtual machine. So is that really good to go with? So what you do, you have to provide your IP address to have an application to access. So is how many people you can go and provide the IP address in here? It's not correct, right? Even though when you try to provide the IP address, it's like totally insecure and unsecure in here. Why? Because when you try to provide your IP address, the other people, some people can easily hack it. So easily know from where it has been coming from. So from which location you're getting this IP address in here. Each and every pinpoint of the things can be easily tracked. So they can hack the things in here. So it's totally insecure. So they may hack your virtual machine. They can download your code by providing the IP address. So it's not really good to have. For that reason, we have your app services. So app services again is, it's like internal to my, similar to my VM only. So within what this will do, this will try to provide the URL where this doesn't contain any kind of IP address or anything in here. So within my app service also, internal to that, I have my VM created, where inside my VM, I have my application deployed. Okay, hope you got now, Chandra. Okay, so going back, so this is what we have with respect to the initial page. Now go ahead and click on my deployment. So all these things are not really mandatory. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah, Chandra. Everybody in real-time perspective, everybody will go and do that in your web applications only, not in your virtual machine. But just to understand what is a virtual machine, what the options we require to create a virtual machine, all those things, we started with your virtual machine. But generally, within your real-time perspective, the applications what you deploy, either using your CI/CD pipeline, whatever you do it in your web applications only, not in your virtual machines directly. Okay. So coming to deployment, yeah, this is just a saying continuous deployment in here. So whenever there's any change happen, I want to go with or whenever change happen to my code level, my job should run automatically, and I want to have my code reflected to my web application directly. So yes, so that currently it's not supported in here, so it is disabled. So later on, monitoring, this is also like kind of insights. It's kind of logs which are being generated. You're trying to go with. Even this has been disabled currently in here. So it's not supported with respect to the the subscription what I have, or the respect to the runtime stack what I chose. It's not supported current. So you can ignore. Not a problem in here. This is yes or no. That's it. So you can deployment continuous, yes or no. That's it. Nothing more than that in here. So tags anyway for information purpose, and finally you have review plus create in here. So overall, I would say that okay, this is my estimated price per month I have in here, and this is my subscription ID, my resource group, my name of my web application. I'm to publish a code in here, and it is a 7.4 PHP application, and this is service plan in here. So operating system is Linux, region, and everything. So you can see the based upon the ACUs, compute unit, all the based upon the things what you have mentioned. Go ahead and click on create. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to create my web application. So where it's trying to deploy, it's trying to create a web application where internally using your, using the compute or the size what you chose, it'll try to create the things internally within your web application in here. So once your web application is created, we can go ahead and you can deploy your application as within for your virtual machine. Earlier, when you are in your virtual machine level, what is the directory where you go and deploy your code in here? That's nothing but your var www and your html. This is a this is the path where you went in and you saw the code. But with respect to my web application in here, it's not the case. So the path will be different. So the path will be something like www root, and I believe it's a site. So I'll show you this one in here. So this is the path where we'll be going, and you can see this code for your web application here. Okay, so I'll show you this particular path where we can access this using you WinSAP easily. So before that, let us see. Yeah, it's done now. Very good. So the good thing in here is like, when you're trying to create your web application, currently I have no code generically, because I did not mention this is the what I just mentioned. I'm trying to deploy the code, and I mentioned this is, the PHP is my language I chose, or the technology I choose to write my code. That's it. But I did not provide any code in here. But still, when you trying to create your web application, it will try to create with some base code inside or automatically. So you can see your URL. So this is the URL. So based upon the name what you provide, web app VRIT here as well, web app VRIT dot Azure websites.net. So you either click on this one, so it will go ahead and so you can see the URL has been running in here to display your default page. So this page, what it will do, what it has been displaying in here currently, that has been based upon, yeah, see, this has been page has been displayed by default. This has been done based upon the default code provided by your Azure. So we haven't make any changes to the code in here. I mean, so we haven't add any the code of your own in here. So it has been provided by your Azure by default. So now where can I go, and how can I make my changes of code in here? So the way which I'm showing you, the WinSAP mode, again similar way, it's just a workaround, guys, but it's not the exact way as I told you. So it can be done using your CI/CD pipelines in automated way. That is how you do in your real-time perspective as well. But for now, with respect to auto, for workaround level, I can go and I can deploy my own code in here. So see here, go to my web application. So here you can see something like deployment center. Click on your deployment center, and you can see something like a FTPS file transfer protocol system credentials in here. So using these credentials, you can go ahead and you can access your web application in here. So when you are using your virtual machine, what happened? using your IP address as a host name, and the VRIT admin, you provide your own user ID and password while you're creating your virtual machine, and you provide even the same thing when you're trying to access your WinSFP. But here I haven't provided any my user ID, or I haven't provided any password in here. So what that isn't being, what it will do is your Azure itself will try to provide you your host name. For us is the endpoint. You have to provide as username, and this is a username, and this is your password. So using this as a host name, your username and password, I will try to connect to my my web application in here. So let's go ahead, open my WinSFP in here. So new site. So earlier, whatever you put in here, you can see like port number 22, because it's a Linux system. In general, we used to connect. But when you're trying, this is what, this is something like you're trying to connect by of your web application here. So let me copy this one. Let me copy this, and now go back here and paste it. So when I paste it, see the port number, what it happens. It changes to 990. So this is the port number, something which is like it's a kind of a firewall, or it's like a entry point to your web application with this port number only. So this port number will be coming automatically when you're trying to provide the FTPS or the URL of your web application in here. So for this web application kind of stuff, the the entry point, the port number you have to follow is 990. So that will be coming by default, and don't make the change to your port number in here, or else you may not able to connect to your web application in here. So now going back, choosing my user ID, copying my username in here. See, it's nothing but the the web application name with some parameterization in here. So some dollar things in here, and finally to my password. You can reset if you want. So currently I'm going to copy my password, and here pasting the links. So go ahead, click on login. So now it's been connecting to my web application in here, web app VRIT. Yeah. See now, this is the, oh, I'm sorry. This is the actual path, copy path. It's always got confusion. So site www root. This is the actual path in here. So this is the path. In this particular path only, you can see your HTML page, or you can see your code, where based upon that code only your default page has been displaying in here. Okay, so if I go ahead now, so I can see something like hosting start.html page. So double click on your page in here. Let's go and let's try to find this particular thing. Yeah, I can see it here in the middle. So what I'll do, I'll make a change in here. Hey, welcome to Devops training, for example. Go ahead and save it. Now refresh the page. See, welcome to Devops training. So whatever the code you write in here, that should be reflected automatically in here. So this is all your workaround, guys. This is not the actual way, but for now, learn it. That's it. Okay. So I'll tell you what is actually we have to go in the real-time perspective. So now what I want to do, okay, I don't want to have this particular page anymore. So go ahead and delete this. So I've deleted. So once you delete it, now you're going to refresh your page. It's gone. So you don't have, so you don't have permission to access the resource, or something forbidden, because you don't have any code in here. So now what I'll do, I have my own code. So like a website code, what we had earlier. I'm trying to push the same code in my applications in here. So earlier, what you have done, when you're trying to push your things, you access the application using your IP address. But now you'll be accessing the same application using your, the URL what you have in here. So let me check this particular part. So let this copy from my local machine to my remote machine in here. Now go ahead. Okay, I can come up with my website, but this is not my IP address, but this is my URL. So you can go ahead and you can make a changes in here again, something, the similar kind of stuff. So welcome to my website. You already have in here. So I'm trying to copy this one. Paste it here. Find next. I can find somewhere here. So welcome to my website, or welcome to Devops. Something. Save it. Refresh your page. So welcome to Devops. So this is almost similar, but only thing is, like, the small difference is, like, within your virtual machine you have very huge number of options. You have to mention your networking piece, you have to mention your, what to say, like, the what is it, like storage accounts. You have to mention your virtual networks, you have to mention your network interfaces. Each and every pinpoint things has to be created, but in this scenario nothing. So everything has been handled by Azure only. So we don't have any control over the virtual machine what it has. Only one thing is, like, we can choose the size. Okay, I need this so and so 1 TB of hard disk, or I can need, 4 GB of RAM, or I need 3 vCPUs. Up to that level I can choose, but I don't have any control over my IP addresses or over, my NSG group. I don't have all those things, because that's purely internally taken care by your Azure. So this is overall of your app services, and which is what we generally use in your real-time perspective rather than VMs in here mostly. So any questions, guys, up to this level? Okay, let's move ahead then. So now so till now what you have done, so wherever you go, whatever you did, everything you done using your portal level, right? So I went into my portal in here, and, go to home. So everything, so went into the portal, click on your resource group, or click on this or click on that, and finally you're able to create your things in here. So is it the only way to create the resources in real time as well, or forget about the real time? This is the only way to create the resources in here, or do we have any other way in here? Yes, of course, we do have one more way, and that is called as a cloud shell. See here, I can say small icon in here, click on cloud shell. So this is something, this will try to open your command line interfaces. Command line interface, CLI, command line interface. So this one helps us to write down the commands to create the same resources. That means without going to my this options in here, what you see in here, you can write down or you can create the same resources using my command lines. But when you are within your Azure level, within your portal level, when you want to run anything in here, you should have a storage account mounted in here. So I'm going at creating a storage using my subscription in here. So once my storage is created, you can go ahead and you can write down the command lines to create the same resources. So what you did till now, your resource group, the virtual machine, the storage account, the app services. So whatever you have done till now using your portal level, manual level, clicking on your options, all those things, you can do using the same thing using a command line now. See, this is, bash scripting. The other one you have a PowerShell scripting in here. So bash scripting is here. This helps us to write down only one command line at a time. Or let's go with, we'll go with the PowerShell scripting later on. So anyway, if you want to go to, if you're a PowerShell developer, you know how to write down PowerShell scripts, click on just PowerShell. Do you want to switch? Yes, confirm. So this particular part will be different. See this is like now. you can see something like a PS. It's a PowerShell. So authenticating to Azure. It's trying to connect to my subscription in here. See, PS, home and sham in here. This is different, and my bash is different. So going back to my bash in here. So what are the main differences? Within your bash, you can write down only one command at a time. But within your PowerShell, you can run multiple commands at the same time by running a script. So how can you scripting kind of running within a bash level? In here, it's not allowed. Your PowerShell script, all those things. So we have separate scripts you also can do with your bash. But the main thing in here, write in the command lines. How can you write in the command lines? What you can write on the things in here. So the main thing within my CLI, the thing is like every command what you start, command line interface. Every command what you start within your CLI, that should start with a Z, because this is your Azure CLI. So this, what are the commands you're trying to write, that is with respect to my Azure level. But that isn't being, you have to say that it's a AZ, Azure CLI in here. So for now example, if you go back here, I'm trying to create my resource group, for example, just in case. So let me go ahead and click on create. When you click on create in here, what's it asking actually? Only two things. What is that? What is the name of the group you want to create and which location you want to create in here? So only do two things, and you can click on review plus create. Automatically my new resource group will be created, right? So same thing. So when you want to create a resource group, the command line for that is every command, as I told, start with AZ. So now my first command to create my resource group, to create the resource group in here. So what is the command? AZ group. Here we don't say resource group, but we simply say group in here. Okay, I want to do something with my group. So AZ is a common, but leave it. So start with group. Or I want to go do something with my virtual machine, mention VM. I want to do something with my storage account, mention storage space account. Similar to that. So currently what I want to something with my group. Okay, what do you want to do with the group now? Do you want to list the number of resources you have in your group or within your subscription level? Do you want to delete the resource group? Do you want to add a new resource group or create a new resource group in here? So now what I want to do, I want to list out my resource group in here. So creation will go later on, but let's see how can you list out your resource group in here. Okay, I want to do what? List. So I will simply say AZ group list. That's it. Very simple and straightforward one. So writing this particular command, what will happen? It will automatically displays the number of resource groups available within your subscription. Okay, so go ahead, write down the same command within your level in here. AZ group list. Okay, AZ group list. Now what I'll do, I'll hit on enter. Okay. Hit on enter. See, it's trying to provide me the list, but it's something different. Okay, so let me copy this particular part, what we have in here, into notepad. So the output we got is something like this. So let's see basically from the portal level how many resource groups I have in here. Okay, I have my VRat-RG, I have my default resource group -EUS, I have Cloud Shell. So this resource group got created when you start creating your storage account for your CLI in here. So this is a new one in here. So totally three: Central India one, EUS one, and VRat-RG. So the same thing you can find in here. So this is with respect to one, sorry, one entry. So you can see the name VRat-RG. Similarly, after comma till my next level, this is respect to my second one, default resource group EUS, and finally this is my first one. So done. So this is my Cloud Shell Storage Central India. So each entry what I have in here, it's been mentioned in a different format in here. Okay, it's been mentioned by different format. So in general, when you go in here, when you see the group, resource group, it says that, okay, this is the name, this is the subscription, this is the location where it got created, and all those things, right? So location, name information, subscription information, your name information, all those things. Similarly here as well, see this location, the name, this is a subscription you have in here. The same thing has been mentioned in here as well, but few more things like managed by null, your properties like the succeeded, its running status. So this is like your that what is the type it is, what it is actually. Is this your resource group or is this your virtual machine? What it is to mention that type. We have it's a resource groups. So Microsoft dot resources. Resources can be a VM, your storage, your virtual network, anything what you create is called a resource. Among those, what the subcategories are resource groups, or else you may find something like VM, or you may find something like storage account. Just to mention what type it is. So this is the format you'll be getting by default internal to your Azure, and this format is called as your JSON format. Hope you remember the JSON we spoke sometime earlier, I believe, somewhere with respect to your REST APIs, right? So JSON format. So only the thing with my JSON format is not really rocket science in here. It's very simple. Every entry what you have, for example, let's go with the same thing in here. The name, or let me go with the first one here. That's the first entry you have in here. So what is second entry? This is my second entry you have in here, and third entry is nothing but my VRIT hyphen RG. So this is my multiple resource groups I have in here. So now what I'll do for every entry, it starts with your curly bracket open and ends with curly bracket. That's it, the very first basic point. Now since to start the second entry, separate with a comma, and again start with your curly bracket open and ends with your curly bracket again and separate by comma one more time. Similar case, starts with the curly bracket open and you ends with your curly bracket again. So it ends over there. So no need of having any comma in here. Okay, so this is my third entry, this is my second entry, and this is my first entry you have in here. So this is the basic point you can find out with respect to my JSON format in here. So now, so when I'm going, what is this one? This is nothing but my resource group name, right? So this is my name in here. So I'm trying to go and say that, okay, this is nothing but, I'm saying this is nothing but my name. This is nothing but my name in here. So name equals to my cloud shell, and here as well name equals to my my default resource group over here. My name equals to my VRT-RG. So the small changes in here, in generally we write what is the name equals to so and so, your age equals to so and so, your phone number equals to so and so, your address equals to so and so. Everything will be mentioned with equal to, and we can write down the content. But the only small change in here is like everything what to start in here, it will start with your double quotes and double quotes. So even this one double quotes and with double quotes. Similarly here as well, double quotes and double quotes. So everything what you have with respect to my JSON format, everything has been enclosed with your double quotes in here. Double quotes. Okay, this is very important to have with respect to my JSON format. And the other thing, you may not find equal to, but instead of equal to, you will be finding colon. This something like a colon, and even here as it's a colon. That's it. So this is the base points you have to remember, guys. So everything will be started with curly bracket, open and close with the curly bracket, and the second other entries will be separate with the comma in here. So when you have comma, it means that this is the second entry, this is the third entry. So when you don't have any comma, that means this is the end of my entries in here. So within my this particular curly bracket open and close, I can see my everything. It has been enclosed with a double quotes and with a colon in between in here. So this is the main thing. So the similar kind of format, the similar kind of stuff you can find. See, for example, you can find with respect to this one. Forgot about the other thing. For respect, take the first one. ID. This is my subscription ID you have in here. This is my subscription ID you have in here. See, within my the same thing, I'm trying to have multiple other sections in here. Okay, you're saying that name equals to so and so. What's the location? Comma, colon, location, location, double quotes, colon, double quotes again. It's East US, comma. What is the resource group name, for example, just in case, no, a resource group name in here. Resource group name, so it can be, you know, like a VRIT. Okay, this is my resource group still. I just want to mention just example. So when you have multiple things in here, what you're trying to do, you're trying to go with a separate the comma in here. Okay, the similar to this, you can find here. See my location managed by some of the things in here. So and again, I can see tags. I didn't provide any tags in here. So it's null values. Type. It's my Microsoft account. So you are what you're trying to do, like you are trying to add multiple details or particular resource group in here, nothing more than that. So here comma again, and you know, managed by my, you know, something like my null in here, again comma, and management name is a properties. I'll talk about that. Tags. So this is again one more entry with respect to my same resource group in here. So multiple details for one resource group I'm having in here. Similarly, as I showed you, within a portal level even it has showing me name, subscription, location. Similar to that, here it's showing you more details in here. That's it, nothing more than that. Now, for example, think that within my tag, I provided two tags in here. So something like, you know, one is like environment equals to dev, and another one, you know, like location equals to east west, for example, just in case. So you cannot provide simply like this. So what you do, you will add with your, you know, kind of a curly, one more curly bracket within my same entry, because you have multiple entries in here. So when you have multiple entries, you start with curly bracket and you end with curly bracket with respect to your tags. So this particular part is only with respect to your tags in here. So again, internet to this one, I can have this, no, something like this. So when you have curly brackets and open within your one entry, the main curly brackets in here, it means that you have multiple things. You have, you know, I have, since again separate the comma. You have multiple options for one, multiple details or multiple things. You have one option here that's called as tags. The same thing you can see in here. So within the properties, of course, you can see only one in here, but you can add more if you want. You can add more, like separate based upon comma, and you can add one more in here. You can do that. Okay, the same thing. So this is what how your JSON format looks like. So what we have done, starting with the small things, we have, you know, we have enhanced the code by adding your double quotes, removing a equal to, and adding a colon in here. And to have more details of each resource group what you have, I need to go with more, you know, the more details in here. To add that, again I need to go with comma within my same entry, within my same curly bracket opening closing, within the same thing I am trying to add more details by using a separated by comma in here. So everything will be starting with my double quotes and ending with my double quotes, and you will be having colon in here. So this is like, you know, it's a key and your value, key and value pair in here. So key is nothing but the question. This is the question. and this is your answer. This is a question and this is your answer. So it's a key value, or this is a key and the value, or I would say it's a question and answer. That's it. Simple. But everything what you find in here should be enclosed with the double quotes and the colon between. That's the main thing in here. Okay, so that's all guys with respect to your JSON format what we have in here. So it's very easy. It's not it's not like any logic or code we're writing in here. But only thing is like what are the details you want to mention, you have to mention in the format of key and a value with enclosed with the double quotes, like this, and in between you should have a colon in between in here. The same thing you can find in here now. Now if you go and check it out, it will be easy to understand. ID, subscription ID, separate comma, okay, location, Central India, managed by, null, name, so and so. Properties, again with this you can see again curly bracket open and close in here. Probably you can add, see, you can see comma in here, but I don't see any entry in here. Probably that you can add if you want more entries as you did with respect to my tags if you want. So currently tags null, and type is it's a resource group you have in here. I would say it's a resource group, something like this. For every entry you can find such kind of details provided with respect to your JSON format. Understood? But the thing in here is like a common man should understand. So currently we are able to learn, we are able to try to understand things in here. So probably okay, now you can go and read the things and I may be able to understand. But do a common man can understand, or even you without knowing all those things, can you easily understand what all these things are? Probably no. So I want to view the similar way as your portal is showing me, as your portal is showing me like this. Can we have an option? Do we have any such kind of option with respect to command line? Yes, we do have that one. So that is something, I'm trying to hit on the top arrow again to get my previous command, AZ group list, and to view my output as a tabular format, what I'll do, give a space, hyphen O, okay, small o, not capital, hyphen O. That means hyphen O means the output I would like to have it in a tabular format. Hyphen O table. Hit on enter. Now see how beautiful it's showing you, so simply and more clear, right? So by default, when you tend to go with AZ group list, by default internally everything what you have, it will be trying to throw in a JSON format. Even in here, it's a JSON format or internally. But if I told you like REST APIs, the representation of a state transferring is happening in here. But that isn't being, it's showing you in a tabular format in here. The same thing it's happening in here as well. So when I say hyphen O table, it's trying to convert the representations into the format where a common man can understand. So here I'm clearly saying that I want to view in a tabular format. For that reason being, I'm able to see the same thing. Again, the same old VRN-RG, the default resource group EUS and the Cloud Shell Central, whatever you see, the same thing in here again, but in a simpler format, but not in a JSON format anymore. Okay, so such kind of commands you can go ahead and you can view, you can create your resource group as well, and you can delete your resource group. Similarly, you can have your virtual machine created or storage account created. So we'll see slowly about this particular the commands what we have in here. It's very easy to understand. So every command, as I told you, start with AZ, and what you want to do with what resource, that you have to mention the resource name in here. It can be a resource group, it can be the virtual machine, or it can be a storage account. All those things in here, whatever you want to mention, you have to mention in here. And what you want to do with that particular resource, is it like you want a list of your VM? For example, now I want to list my VM, AZ VM list. Just in case if you have virtual machines already available, it will show me, or else see null value. Why is getting this square bracket open and close in here because it's throwing me in the form of JSON format. But if I try to go and if I say -o table, so this will show you normal way. So nothing, because now I'm trying to help me to show me in a normal table of format in here. Similarly, my storage account, let's see that AZ storage account. I think I already have one storage account in here. AZ storage account list. I'm trying to go with my JSON format first. See, I can see all these things and nothing but see everything what you have. It's a key and a value pair. So within my this particular part, I have multiple entries. That is reason being I have a curly bracket open and close in here. So all these things, everything will be key and value pair only, nothing more than that. So standard LRS, the things what you chose in here. But I don't want to have in my JSON format. This looks ugly. I mean, it's not really, but I can't easily understand the things in here. So what I would do, I would like to see in a tabular format. I just want to see the name. I just want to see the list. That's it. I don't want to see all these things in here. For that is me, top arrow again, -o table. See, now it's trying to show you, okay, the central India, the cloud shell, it's available, the storage account in here. So all other things, it's trying to show in here, it's trying to show in a tabular form. Probably my page is not enough to not to view it, but there's a similar format it's trying to show in a table level things in here. Okay, so we'll see more about this CLI commands. Similarly, how can you create your storage account, the new one, if I want to create? How can you delete? How can you create your virtual machines? How can you delete it? How can you view it? We'll see all those things one after one with respect to SD commands in here. Okay, but the one thing is like, I don't want to go ahead and do it in my cloud shell. I don't want to log in my portal at all. I want to do it in my command prompt in here. Using my command prompt, I would like to run all these things in here. How can you do that? What are the different things you have to do so that without coming to my portal page anymore, this particular page anymore, by using your command prompt, how can you connect your subscription? How can you run these commands over there? We'll see all those things slowly one after one. Okay. So any questions, guys, up to this level?
Sham Shrikant here.
Yes, Shrikant.
Which one is preferable in real time? Are we going to use PowerShell or are we going to manual only?
So in generally we'll go with yes.
Sorry?
The echo coming up. So in generally in real-time perspective, we'll go with your CI/CD pipelines. So this is not the this is like oh no, sorry. So creating resources, right? We go with ARM templates, Azure Resource Manager templates. That's the important point. To reach that your ARM templates, I'm trying to explain all those things in here. So currently, I'm trying to slowly pitch into. I'll come back to my ARM template slowly. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sure. Thank you.
So while creating app services, we can see 10 interfaces for dev QA and for prod, like under 10 or in the instances. What exactly interface here? How your app service would connect link to storage account or school or other resources in here? See, Jitendra, this is yeah, instances. See, yeah. So instances in here, like, it's like a scalability you're talking about. We're trying to talk about scalability in here. So if you remember the example of IRCTC I have provided. So if we have multiple resources coming in, or when you have multiple kind of requests are coming in, so every application can maintain only up to few instances, up to the IOPS what it has inside. If you are getting more than that request, automatically your server will be down and your application will be hanged up. So I don't want to happen that particular part. So what I'll do, I'll try to have a replica of my application so that I can create one more instance of my current application. So suppose you have 1,000 people working, 1,000 people are having some request on your YouTube, for example. So your YouTube can maintain up to 70 instances, for example, thing like that. But now, sorry, 7,000 only instances, requests. But now what you're getting? You're getting 10,000 requests, for example. So your YouTube can handle up to 7,000. But after that, what are the requests is getting after 7,000? Just slowly there'll be a lot much burden will be increased on your YouTube. So your YouTube will be hanged. Your YouTube will be getting slower down all of a sudden, because if the request what it's getting, it's more than its this capacity in here. So for that reason being, not to make such kind of things happen, not to get my customer impacted, what I'll do, I'll go with my scalability. That means I will try to create one more instance automatically with the same YouTube application. So the current situation, whatever the YouTube is having, all the videos, everything replica to that, one more application will be created with same instance, and the new requests which are coming in, that will be navigated or pushed to my new instance rather than going to the same old instance in here. So it's like a multiple instances going forward, so that your new request will be navigated to those in new instances in here. All these are nothing but your replicas of the same web application. But at the time when the number of people getting reduced, suppose now at night time, you may not see those many people using a YouTube. So automatically people will be getting reduced. So the maybe the instance, the request may be around only 2,000, 3,000. So what is it really keep to all need is necessary to keep all the instances again, which are created earlier in the morning. No more, it's not required. So I'll scale down, I'll drill down all my instances back so to my only original one application, so that one instance is more than enough to handle my 3,000 requests. But again, the daytime, for example, again we are getting more than 7,000. Again, my one instance cannot handle. So again, I'll try to create my replicas. So based upon the traffic, based upon the request what you have, the instances may upgrade up to 1,000, or sorry, what you said, 100 instances in your production environment. But in dev environment, it's only up to 10 instances it can upgrade automatically based upon the number of requests you have within your application in here. Okay, that is how you can go the things in here. And how can you connect a storage account or something like this in here? This storage accounts can be connected by providing the access to my storage account, or by providing the access to my the web application in here. So every web application what you create in here, you have some kind of you know when you go with your web application what you created in here. So in the app you can see access control. So in this access control, you have to provide, add role assignment. So in this one, you can see something, the kind of blob. To search in my search bar, blob storage. I think since I don't have any storage accounts probably in here, probably not showing. Something should I'll get the exact the role of your storage which need to be added in here. So first I'm choosing this one in here. Click on next, and you have to manage the members who want to earn, or you can manage the things, the resources you want to have this particular role be assigned in here. So storage account, this is just normal role you have in here. So I'll clearly tell you the role name, what it to be tagged to your web application, so that where you can have all your content in your storage account, and that can be applicable to my web application or applicable to my resource via virtual machine, which has been internal to my web application in here. So using my role assignments, I can go ahead, I can tag my storage accounts within my web application in here. So that's how you go within your real-time perspective. Okay.
Okay, so Sham here actually related to instances. So basically, can we manually update? Like for example, in peak times, can we need some more instances? We can update anything like that. Like for example, in the peak times like 3 to 4 or 1 to 5, we need some more instances to that application. So can we do anything like that?
Manually, you can't do in your production environment because you can't touch things manually. That is the reason being it's
Mhm.
clearly saying it's a auto scale. So 100 instances is not a small thing, Jitendra. It's very huge
Okay.
thing. 100
Okay.
applications running at the same replica. It's not a small thing, right? So every instance can manage, so lot many, I don't know, 12,000. So that's the reason they're costing you very huge, 20,000, 80,000. Why costing? Because each instance can manage up to 12,800 instances per second. Per second, it can handle 12,800, I believe, mostly the operations in here. So 100 instances into this per second is 12,800. So 1 hour, 24 hours, one. So just imagine how much you can manage it in here. So mostly you will not be seeing a scenario where it has upgrade to 100 instances automatically. Generally, it's not required. Probably one or two, that's okay. But 100 instances at the same time means it's like, it's very highly used instances. And millions of billions of people coming at the same time. Then only it may happen, it may require. But generally, it's not required. The things you hear, it will be auto scaled again. Manually level doing the things. If I want to increase more than that, so you can't go and do it in here directly. So you may need to, request your Azure people to have a separate customized one for you. So you may need, you can this is a kind of request you can add more to your things. So probably they may look into, and your Azure people may come into and do the things for you, because this is the options we can't change. What you see here, I don't want to look at name in here. I want to see this is the web application name. So I can't change this column name in here. I'm just a user. So the actual code, what is being written internally by your things is made by your Azure people. So if you want to make such kind of extra things to be required, you have to request those people to probably to do that. But I don't see such kind of scenarios in your real-time perspective till now, as per my knowledge and experience. What I
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Shyam.
have. Thank you. So that's all, guys, with respect to web applications, what we have today. And the Azure CLI, we just started slowly, and we're able to understand the format, what it has, the main part, key and value pair of things in here. So we'll try to see more commands. We'll see how can you, so what are different commands to run your virtual machine, to create your virtual machine or delete your virtual machine, each and every part with respect to storage accounts, as we'll try to see slowly. So we'll try to see multiple things. And as I told you, I don't want to log into my portal anymore, but I want to go ahead and I want to do my things within my command prompt. So if you want to do that particular part, what are the things you want to mention, or what you have to install within the system to have the to run your things within your command prompt, but not going to my resource group anymore, or within my portal anymore in here. So we'll see all those things slowly, one after one, in your upcoming classes in here. Okay. So I'm trying to delete my resource groups because I have a lot much unnecessarily charged. Okay, guys, then we'll wind up for today. We'll meet tomorrow, same time, with more understanding on your Azure CLI commands. Thank you, guys. Have a great day ahead, and bye.
Thank you.